I was folding dish towels when the email pinged in. Your explanation of benefits is ready. Blue Meridian Health. The same royal blue header I'd been seeing since Eleanor's chemo days. I'd promised myself I'd never ignore EOBs again. Not after watching a billing clerk call a $12,300 drug just routine. That word can ruin you. I set the towels beside my kettle, an old stainless Benavida that still keeps 95 degrees Celsius like a metronome, and opened the PDF on my Lenovo. I'm 72, not dead. I can still scroll. On the kitchen table, my reading glasses, a blood pressure cuff, half a banana, and the morning pills in a red plastic organizer that says Sun M1, TUE in flaking white letters. Lisinopril atorvastatin, the cheap, boring kind. Out-of-network consultation. Inpatient evaluation. CPT 99223. Miami Cancer and Wellness Pavilion. Data service. April 12th. Lodging. Covered by travel and lodging benefit. Hotel vendor. The Palms Oceanfront Suites. 2 nights. $1,840. Patient. Thompson Harold. That's me. I had not been to Miami since 1998 for a repair expo where the hotel carpet smelled like spilled gin and cologne. I looked at my calendar. April 12th was Sophie's call about the tomato starts. My daughter. She'd said, "Dad, please. Your copays are killing me. A Liquis alone is like $600. Can I hold your card for now so I can manage refills? You always forget passwords." I don't take a Liquis. I open Facebook, where I pretend I like more photos than I do, and click Sophie's page. Her profile picture was her, 41 years old, eyelash extensions, and an expression I used to see only on TV anchors. I click photos, then albums, then spring. There she was, under a palm tree, with a drink half the size of her head. Another photo, white sheets, a breakfast tray, a view of blue water framed by bright umbrellas. I pinch to zoom and read the embossed card by the cappuccino. The Palms Oceanfront Suites. The date stamp, April 12th. I turned off the kettle and forgot to make tea. The house smelled faintly of lemon pledge and last night's roast chicken. Thighs on sale, rubbed with paprika and brown sugar. But the smell receded because numbers were louder. I scrolled down the EOB. Airline ground transfer, concierge transportation, $220. Per diem meal stipend, $96. The oncology infusion suite fee, $3,140. Oncology? I had a mole removed in September, and the dermatologist called it boring. I don't have oncology. A comment under Sophie's beach photo. So proud of you for seeking healing. Hashtag self-care, hashtag retreat. She'd written back, when the body needs treatment, you go where the best doctors are palm treated. I closed the laptop and looked to the kitchen clock. 8:41 a.m. The second hand jumped each second like it hated the job. My wife has been dead 6 years. I still sometimes talk to the serious little photo of her that sits beneath the cabinet radio. A grainy shot in a navy dress. A church picnic in 1983. Are you seeing this? I asked her. The radio muttered about traffic on I-10. I wiped my hands on the dish towel and sat down because my legs remembered the year she died and how sitting makes breathing easier. I scrolled through more benefits. Waldorf Astoria, Beverly Hills. Four Seasons, Houston. All within 4 months. All with travel and lodging for patient plus companion. Total benefit usages to date, $63,480. Airfare booked through Blue Meridian Care Travel Desk, $11,960. Ground transfers, $1,480. Specialty infusion therapy, $14,500. I touched a place on the table where Eleanor had burned a circle with a tea kettle once. We'd laughed about it for years. Funny what you keep. By 9:10, my tea was cold, and I was not confused anymore. Sophie's voice had grown professional these last years. "Dad, you need to be more realistic," she'd say, tapping something into her iPhone 15 Pro like a court stenographer. She'd come by and put my pills into the red organizer, leaving a tiny lecture in each compartment. "And for God's sake, don't skip the amlodipine." "I don't take amlodipine," I'd reply. She'd roll her eyes and say I'm being difficult. February 2nd, 2025, a Thursday, she stood at the sink, flipping her hair like a PR video. The sunlight caught the little flecks in the granite we'd gotten cheap when the salesman misquoted. Dad. Blue Meridian changed their tears. Generics aren't really the same. Your statin is junk. Generics are bioequivalent, Sophie. Do you want me to afford your medications or not? She'd said that 1-3 times between December and February, always while looking at some other piece of my kitchen. The spice rack, the dish soap, anything but my face. I can't keep paying $614 for Eliquis every month. I'm not made of money. Good news, I said softly. I'm not on Eliquis. She smiled thinly. I'll handle it, Dad. After she left, I had leftover split pea soup with a ham bone I'd saved from Christmas. I sat in Eleanor's chair, the one that tilts back too far if you lean without thinking, and the soup tasted like dried time and remembering. Back then, I chalked it up to the messy ledger of grief and mishearing. That's what aging is sold as, a kind of fog. But fog clears when the sun finds it. My son was an EOB and a hotel breakfast tray. I made a list in a spiral mead notebook left over from the time I tried to learn Italian. Date, provider code, amount note. April 12th, Miami Cancer and Wellness Pavilion. $99,223. $2,160. Inpatient consult. April 12th to 14th, the Palms Oceanfront Suites, TNL. $1,840. Lodging. April 13th, infusion therapy. J2997, revenue code 0260. $3,140. May 21st to 25th, Four Seasons Houston, TNL, $3,760. Post-oncology, follow-up. June 9th, concierge transportation, $220 to For My H. Under each line, I pasted a printed screenshot from Sophie's Instagram story. Not friends only. She likes an audience. The Palms Cabana, #retreat. A mirrored elevator selfie in Beverly Hills. Gold letters behind her shoulder. Then a shot from a lobby where everyone wears perfume you can smell from photograph. I circled the dates. They matched. In August, a claim listed Stanford Integrative Oncology initial exam and Lucille Packard Family House. Lodging because the travel desk doesn't check ages, just benefit codes. The family house is for parents of pediatric patients. My handwriting went wobbly on that one. She brought a companion. The form said, certified under my name. That 2-bedroom ran $540 a night at the negotiated rate. They'd stayed 4 nights. $2,160. That entire week, she told me she couldn't afford my heart pills. I brewed coffee in the old Mr. Coffee, the one with a cracked water gauge that leaks a teaspoon if you overfill. On the counter lay the knife with a darkened walnut handle I oiled last fall. My house is a museum of things kept because they still work. By noon, I called Blue Meridian. The first human who mattered answered when I said fraud to the robber voice. Special investigations, the woman said. Calm, not bored. She asked me to spell my name slowly. I could hear the typing. Mr. Thompson, we see unusual travel and lodging utilization attached to your ID. We do have a concierge travel desk record for airline tickets and hotels. I didn't travel, I said, and I'm not on oncology anything. We're opening a case, she said. Your case number is 24 SIU, 1135. Please don't contact the providers yourself. And if you believe your card has been used without consent, contact the police. We'll send you a fraud packet by secure email. I will, I said, and cancel my policy. Sir, cancel today. I'll pay cash for the generics if I must, but this barn door is closing. She was quiet for a beat that said I had just kicked a particular hornet's nest. Understood. I'm placing a hold, effective immediately. Any new claims will pend. I printed everything and slid it into a cheap black binder with plastic sleeves. I added a second copy to an envelope marked with blue painter's tape. To Detective Raisin Financial Crimes. I wrote the dates on the tape in thick magic marker. I am not fast anymore, but I am thorough. The incident at Walgreens on Gulf Avenue started stupidly. Most things do. It was a Tuesday in September, 5:17 p.m., the hour when the store smells like body wash and impatience. I had a prescription for lisinopril waiting. I hate the fluorescent lights in there, too blue, like a doctor's smile. Sophie was ahead of me at the counter, thumbs thrumming her phone. The screen reflected green in her pupils. She hadn't seen me. The text said, "For Mr. Thompson," and Sophie said, "Yes, I'm his daughter. We're struggling with his costs, so if you could please run the Blue Meridian card first, and then the GoodRx card." The tech nodded and reached for the little scanner. I stepped up and put my hand gently on the counter. "Hi," I said. "I'm Mr. Thompson." Sophie turned. Surprise flickered into irritation. "That fast?" "Dad, I was just picking these up." "And why?" I asked. "Does this say aliquis and jardiance?" People in line shifted. One man sniffed. The tech froze in that halfway posture that techs use when the script doesn't cover it. "We, have both profiles here. Would you like me to?" "Cancel both," I said, still calm, "and remove my daughter's access. She will not be managing my medications." Sophie's smile was professional sweet. "Dad's confused. He forgets." "I forget less than Instagram remembers," I said. I turned to the tech and nodded at the little desk clock. 5:20 p.m., please add a note. Patient requests no third-party pickup without his physical presence. The tech swallowed. "Yes, sir." Sophie's jaw tightened. Then she pivoted. "You want to make scene?" she hissed, low enough for me only. "Fine. But I'm the only one who's cared whether you live or die for the past 6 years." I felt the old rage then. Not the kind that flares and burns out. The kind that sits like a stone. "You cared enough," I said, "to book the Waldorf on my oncology benefit. What are you?" April 12th, the Palms. May 21st, Four Seasons Houston. August, Palo Alto. $63,000. $480 in lodging. $11,960 in flights. $14,500 in fake infusions. I could have quoted the claim batch numbers. I didn't. It seemed impolite. Her face performed a little opera. Outrage to pity to dismissiveness. "I went to those places for you, Dad. To get answers. To consult experts. You wouldn't go." "Here's an expert answer," I said. "You're not on my insurance anymore." I left the line. I could feel the aisle signs judging me: cosmetics, greeting cards, seasonal. I bought a new box of Twinings Earl Grey because I always have a celebration on hand. At home, I called SIU again and logged the pharmacy incident. Then I baked a small pan of cornbread because spite needs butter. The fraud packet wanted copies. My ID, my insurance card, the EOB printouts, and any supporting evidence like travel documentation, provider correspondence, social media artifacts. I paged my printer until it wheezed. I had enough artifact to sink a boat. I added one more thing to the envelope. A screenshot of a text Sophie had sent me on June 3rd, 7:48 p.m. "Dad, can we skip your Lipitor this month? I'm drowning. I'll make it up next pay. Love you." Her "love you" had 3 hearts. It looked like confetti sprinkled on a bill. I took an Uber to the police substation because my old Ford Ranger is now more memory than truck. The officer at the glass said "financial crimes" and buzzed me through. Detective Raisin had the posture of a man who's been disappointed by almost everyone and remained polite anyway. Insurance fraud is a slow wheel, he warned. But when it turns, it grinds. "I'm patient," I said, "and I'm old. These 2 facts can be useful together." He gave me a case number. He told me to expect silence for a while. Silence suits me. It doesn't interrupt. At home, I made beans in the Instant Pot and ate with a spoon out of a chipped Blue Bowl. I read a paperback from the thrift store and felt my house settle into itself. Eleanor would have approved of the beans. She would have shaken her head at the police. "Our daughter," she would have asked, that sadness vowel in her voice. I would have said yes. Then we would have had tea. The first blowback came fast. Sophie came by 3 days after I canceled the policy. Cheeks arrested into a smile so bright it fogged up the hall mirror. "Dad," she sang, handing me a paper bag with a loaf of brioche. "You love brioche." "I love bread," I said. "You love brioche." She pushed past into the kitchen. Listen, there's been a misunderstanding. The hospital coded things wrong. The concierge desk made mistakes. We just need to call them together and... I already called, I said. Her smile cracked at the edges. You canceled your policy? Yes. You can't do that. Her voice went up a register. What if you have an emergency? What if you fall? Do you expect me to? Yes, I said. I expect you to mind. She dropped the brioche like a stage prop. Do you understand how stressful my life is? Do you have any idea how much I've done for you? After Mom died, who was there? Me. You were there for the photo, I said. Not for the radiation appointments or the Wednesday rides to Dr. Patel's clinic. That was me and your mother. You were in Phoenix that spring, posting a latte with a leaf on it. You keep score, she spat. You always have. You were never a generous person. I looked around my kitchen at the smell of chicken stock simmering, at the clean dishes I keep upside down, the little tape marks on the floor where Eleanor insisted the rug should live. You don't know what generosity is, I said. It doesn't photograph well. She cried then, big, wrenching sobs that remembered a girl I once carried on my shoulders to the county fair. Dad, please. I made mistakes. I thought I could manage it. I thought I could make your care better. Your care is a caption, I said, and you've been stealing. We're family. Exactly. She left. I washed the counter where the brioche had sat and threw the loaf in the freezer because food is food. Weeks passed. My house returned to the decibel level of tea. I bought my generics with cash, felt like a sinner the way the pharmacist leaned in over the counter and whispered, $9.20. Every dollar you spend honestly looks smaller. Blue Meridian-ankled with the tone of a train arriving. They'd cross-verified hotel invoices, flight manifests, provider billing codes, and something called IP logs. Someone had used my member portal from 2 IP addresses. My house and an apartment in Midtown where Sophie used to rent. Someone had called the concierge travel desk using my member ID and a memorized PIN that I had never created. Mr. Thompson, the SIU woman said, we are referring the matter to the State Department of Insurance Fraud and to your local PD, case number cross-referenced. Thank you, I said. I sliced an apple while she spoke, quartered it, and ate slowly. It tasted like tart relief. A week later, Detective Raisin called. Mr. Thompson, would you be willing to invite your daughter over to talk? We'll have units nearby. I can make tea, I said. He chuckled once. That'll do. I set out Eleanor's china, because ceremony matters even when you arrest someone. She came on a Sunday late afternoon, the hour when the kitchen light makes my countertop look warmer than it is. She wore beige like forgiveness and a new pair of sandals with tiny gold chains on them. I opened the door, and she hugged me so hard I thought it might be real. Dad, she whispered into my shirt. I'm sorry. I've been awful. Let me make this right. Come in, I said. I had a lemon pound cake on the table, bakery not homemade, and 2 cups ready. I poured Earl Grey. No sugar, she said. I'm cutting back. She smiled. I remembered Eleanor cutting back on everything but love. I was thinking, Sophie began, we could talk to Blue Meridian together. If you reinstate your policy, I can help research your options. I even looked up a care navigator in Houston who specializes in elderly. No, I said. She blinked, as if she'd heard a foreign syllable. Dad, I know you're upset. I know how this looks, but I always try to be proactive. The hotels were just pretty, I said. She tried again. They were just where the doctors were. Specialists, integrative oncology. You don't even know what that is. Neither do you. Her lips pressed then. She looked past me at Eleanor's photo, the navy dress one, and I saw something in her face that I recognized from a different person in a different story. Calculation pretending to be care. I'd seen it in other men's daughters, other men's sons, sitting in plastic chairs at oncologists' offices, whispering about trusts and bills. The world has a script. Dad, she said at last, tender as a sermon. Please, I can't lose you. I did what I did because I was scared. You can be scared, I said without stealing. Her eyes shone. I just want to make amends. There was the knock then. Not loud, but official. It sounded like someone who knows the door will open. Sophie frowned, stood, smoothed her beige like she could press the moment flat. I walked to the door. The porch smelled like damp mulch. The hydrangea leaves had started to bronze at the edges. 2 officers and Detective Raisin. He held a folder, paper the color of bureaucracy. "Miss Sophie Thompson?" he asked, polite enough to make the words colder. She turned. For a fraction, she looked 8 years old. Then the 41-year-old came back. "What is this?" "Miss Thompson," Raisin said carefully, "you are being served with a criminal summons on charges of insurance fraud, identity theft, and theft by deception, pursuant to," he read the numbers like a catechism. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used in a court of law." This is insane." "He's confused," she said, pointing at me, as if I were a misplaced coat. "He doesn't understand how healthcare works. We're family." The officer cleared his throat softly. "Ma'am, we've reviewed travel invoices and provider statements and your public social media posts corresponding to the dates of claims." He said it the way men fold laundry. Efficient. Done. She looked at me, not at them. Anger and pleading passed like sparrows across her face. "Dad, tell them you gave me permission." "No," I said. Her lips moved, but the sentence never arrived. "Miss Thompson," Raisin continued, "please step outside." His tone did not invite negotiation. He read her name again. The sound of someone calling your name from a police officer's mouth is different than any other sound. It is the sound of a door closing. She followed them because she couldn't see a way not to. The hallway light drew a thin line on the floor between my kitchen and the rest of the house. It looked like a border someone might draw on a map when the war is over. I stood where the house meets the evening air and watched them talk on the porch. There were neighbors on their lawns, pretending to be busy. A woman across the street watered nothing. This kind of thing draws witnesses like sugar draws ants. Sophie said nothing loud enough for me to hear. Raisin said something into the radio clipped to his shoulder. One officer wrote on a pad. The other looked down the street, as if danger were late. He called her name once more and put paper into her hand. The beige trembled. "Dad," she said again, softer. "Please." I did not answer, which is its own answer. They walked her to the sidewalk. They didn't cuff her. The paper in her hand weighed as much as the bracelets would have. I closed the door. The latch clicked like a clock's second hand. In the kitchen, the tea had cooled to a temperature that suits old men. I sat down in Eleanor's chair and took a sip. The lemon pound cake tasted like exactly what it was. I looked at my binder on the table, my tidy tabs. I looked at the photo of Eleanor. "You would have hated this," I told her. "You would have held her hand anyway." I put the cake onto a plate and covered it with the old glass dome that has a chip like a tooth on one side. My house got quiet again, not empty quiet. Just the kind where you can hear your own breathing, and it doesn't sound like a stranger's. The hydrangea leaves out the window look like little green ears, listening. The phone rang twice, numbers I didn't know, then stopped. The clock above the coffee maker said 6:11. I folded the dish towel I'd left by the sink and set it back on the oven handle. Then I did the only thing I had wanted all day. I opened the small tin that holds Eleanor's favorite tea, took a pinch, and brewed another cup. Stronger this time. My doctor likes to say I should avoid stress. I tell him I avoid liars instead. That works better.